Today is April 5th, 2026. Yeah, it's Easter Sunday, even though I don't celebrate Easter, but everybody's out and about. I don't know, it's like any other, today is like any other Sunday. It's not much of a difference, but nice weather out. Nice weather out. I wanted to, there's some things I needed to talk about. And definitely something I learned actually a few days ago. And I wanted to share this with some folks. So I'm going to before I start, I'll probably wait like another minute or two before I start. Really nice out. I think it's around 69 degrees in North Texas. I like going by the river. It's really nice. Really cool scene. Not too many people out, which is really cool, but not too bad. Just wait a little bit. It's cloudy today. A little bit of clouds here. Well, these clouds, I do call them cloud seeding. They're not really actually real clouds. They just been created by man. So anyway, be here for a little bit. About to start within 30 seconds. Okay. All right. So, something I learned a few days ago. I was looking at this. There's a YouTube channel. This defense attorney. It's a channel I subscribe to, right? And I learned a lot of stuff from this defense attorney about the police and the tactics that they do. And, the things that he talks about, he tells people, he gives legal advice. He doesn't give like advice, meaning like he's far as giving you like an attorney relation, but he's just using his channel as an educational platform. So anyway, he was this particular clip that he's taught. The clip that I was watching recently is about gun owners, right? When a cop pulls you over and they ask you a question about, do you have a gun? So this defense attorney, was giving some tips basically about things not to do. So if you get pulled over, okay, you get pulled over, and they ask you questions that if you have a gun, and you tell the police officer that yes, I have a gun. Hey everybody. Hey, you're new here. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Thank you very much. Yep, thank you. I appreciate it. So let me just go back what I'm about to say. There's some stuff I want to talk about for those that just came in. I'm going to talk about the police, and I'm going to talk about the Department of Justice, okay? I just want to be very clear. So I'm just wanted to say that. So in case anybody just join in, they want to know what I'm talking about. But I don't mind repeating the things that I'm going to say, all right? So anyway, so if you're a gun owner, this is what I've learned from this lawyer. If you're a gun owner and you get pulled over, right, and they ask you questions, or if they ask you if you have a firearm and stuff like that, and you say yes you do, or whatever, right? One of the things that this defense attorney was talking about is not to go in your glove department to get your, let's say your insurance, right? Because some people, they try to be compliant and they try to do things ahead of time about getting their, far as their, far as their license and giving them their driver license, whatever. What happened was there was a situation one time that somebody got pulled over, and again, the cop was asking, "Do you have a firearm?" And he said, "Yes." Right? He reached over his glove compartment. I guess he wanted to show the police officer that his firearm was there, or I guess he wanted to show his show him his far as your insurance. What happened was the cop shot the person 7 times. Okay, 7 times, because the narrative is that the police officer was fearing for his life. So the narrative gives the justification to shoot a man 7 times. They show a video. The defense attorney show a brief video of that situation. The woman next to the guy that was shot, she was terrified, and they show the guy literally like dying. Literally. Let me say the word unalive. I guess that's the term that you got to see on YouTube. The person is basically being unalive right in front of her. Okay. The woman was terrified. I think there was a child in the back seat. I was so angry about this situation. I was just watching this stuff, and this is one of the reasons why I don't watch some things on YouTube. When it comes to a situation like that, when it comes to somebody getting beat down by the police, I cannot watch that. It makes me a lot of anger rush through me. I just can't watch the stuff. I just honestly can't. So I look into this case, okay, I did some research, and I wonder if the families of the victim loved one, did they got justice. What happened was they were settled. I'm not going to say the name of the case, the name of the name of the family, okay? I'm just going to just kind of generalize it, just tell you what I learned, and tell you the ongoing problems we're having when it comes to the police, okay? Now, the city did settle. They gave the family $2 million something. The police officer was fired by the city, okay? And then I dig in further. Hey everybody, thanks for joining in. I'm starting to see more comments here. Okay, so I was doing some more digging in regards to the, as far as the family. So what happened was that the family, a little distracting, I'm sorry. The family, there was a settlement. The police officer was fired. But here's the thing. There's a statute, Title 18, 241, and Title 18, 242. Okay, if you want to look up that statute, you go right ahead. One of those 2 statutes states, okay, I don't know which one of them, okay, that if an officer, okay, and it could be anybody let's just say somebody in office, but let's just talk about a police officer, okay? If an officer injured, okay, like bodily injury, or even, let's say, a police officer kills somebody, okay? That officer could be in prison for 5 to 10 years, and then if it results to death, if the police officer kills the person, then according to that statute, that police officer will be sentenced to death. This is what the statutes say. You have an officer going about their action of color of law, imposing color of law, and killing somebody, or physically injure somebody. This is what the statutes say, okay? I don't have it in front of me. I'm just going off a little bit of memory what I have. So I said to myself, wait a minute. So out of all these cases, there's so many cases out there that people have been wrongfully, let's say unlawfully detained. They've been unlawfully detained. They've been injured. They've been raped. I think the statute also, if I remember correctly, that statute also mentioned about rape or something like that. I could be wrong, okay? But a lot of people have been victimized by the police in such ways and even killed. I mean, and the statute, these 2 statutes that I mentioned, is not always enforced. And matter of fact, The part that says that the police officer will be sentenced to death, that is very rare. I don't think I don't think that has never been the case that a police officer has been sentenced to the death penalty. I have not heard of it. If somebody, if there was a case, I need to know because I've never heard of that. So I dig in further, and I say to myself, wait a minute, why is these two statutes are not being enforced every time a police officer commit these unlawful action against somebody? Why is that they get either administrative leave, okay? I mean, a lot of time they get fired, administrative leave, suspension, or their immunity, qualified immunity protects them and all that. And I'm like, then I find out further that the Department of Justice, okay, the Department of Justice, they're the ones that allows the statute, these two statutes, to continue to be enforced or not. Okay. Let me say this. I'm gonna also mention this here because I'm sharing some real issues here, and I know when I bring about things about the police, you got a lot of people. They're wearing their little political hats, and if you are talking against the police, obviously people in certain groups are going to be offended by it because they don't want to hear the fucking truth. That's the problem. It is not just the people on. It's not just a mega crowd. Anybody you talk about, whatever the case is, people don't like to hear the damn truth. They get offended by it because they don't want. They can't handle it. They like to be comfortable in the little political sandbox because it keeps them safe. Okay, me, because I'm nonpartisan, I'm going to talk about all kinds of issues in my channel that is going to make people uncomfortable. So I don't take sides here. So in this live, I'm going to talk about, as I was just saying, about the police, their unlawful action, why these two statutes are not being enforced, and then the fact that the Department of Justice, they are the ones that dictate whether the police officer should be sentenced to 5 to 10 years or to life in prison or sentenced to death. They're like the gatekeepers. Okay? They are the gatekeepers. So I went further as I was researching this days ago, and I said to myself, you know what? I know that the Department of Justice, I know they're a post-Reconstruction creation. Now, if you're probably wondering, what do I mean post-Reconstruction? Post-Reconstruction, folks, real brief, I'm going to give you a real brief background. We had a change of government during the Reconstruction Act, okay? And the forced adoption of the 14th Amendment, okay? That changed the entire political structure from state to federal, okay? So the system that we're living under is not the true limitation government from state to federal that it was prior to the Reconstruction, okay? Or I would say prior to 1860. So everything that the system does is basically going outside constitutional limits, okay? That's the bottom line. The Department of Justice, okay, I was doing some research. It was created, I think they changed their name, and I'm sorry I don't remember some details, but it was created during 1870s, okay? But I could be wrong on some details here, okay? I'm just going about what I read and did some digging early days ago. So yes, I do know that the Department of Justice is a post-Reconstruction creation. So I say to myself, you know what? When I find out some detail about why, and I understand why those two statutes are not being enforced, I said to myself, you know what? The Department of Justice just landed on my to-do list, and I have a lot going on. I know I have a lot of projects in front of me and the things I want to do this year. I'm trying to take care of my own personal affairs. At the same time, it's very disheartening. It's really frustrating that people are literally not getting a complete justice that they deserve. And they have agencies that allow these crimes to happen. Okay? All right? And it's very frustrating. So the Department of Justice is the gatekeeper, and that agency, their authority needs to be tested. If you have an agency that's not enforcing or not going by the statutes that these people created, okay, then there's a situation that needs to be done. Now, I know they're not lawfully created. I know that. The angle that I want to go at in regards to the Department of Justice, okay, is that they're not enforcing those two statutes. Yet there's a lot of people, even right now as I'm speaking, there's a lot of people that's being traumatized, being attacked, physically attacked, or being shot by a Gestapo. I mean, I normally call them Gestapos, but they normally are being either physically assaulted or being killed. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people feel like there's nothing they could do. A lot of people waste their time of talking about police reform, and police reform is not going to do anything. There's a lot of things about what the police could do or what they're doing that needs to be stripped away. So one of my projects is that I want to strip away every unlawful procedure that that the Gestapos do. Strip every unlawful procedure that you could think of, what they do, especially traffic stops. So, and this is another thing too. This is one of the reasons why when you register your gun, when you go out and register, right? They're gonna obviously know what you have. So when a police officers scan your license plate, they know that you're armed. They know you are more of a target when you go out and register for a firearm. That's why if someone ever asks me, is it a good idea to register for a firearm? I'm going to just tell them flat out, no, don't. You put a target on your back. You're telling the government, the insurgent government, excuse me, that yes, I am a registered gun owner. That is the most dumbest thing that anybody could do. I know if you're offended, I don't know what to tell you. It's the dumbest decision that anybody can make. You don't ever tell the insurgent government what you have. And stop posting shit on social media about your firearm. That's another stupid thing to do. Why are you telling the enemy what you have? Keep your mouth shut. You don't need to tell the world what you have. And I'm sure, damn it, I'm sure the insurgent government, they're not going to tell you the things that they have. You think they're going to tell you what they have? No, they're not. Anyway, not too off, but I wanted to discuss about my this project that I want to do, that I wanted to abolish the Department of Justice, and I'm going to abolish them. That's they're a part of the project in regards to going after the state legislators. The state legislators, they're all of them under this system. They are all de facto or usurpers. Okay, de facto officers. Okay, they're not anyone in office. It's not about political parties. Anyone in office under this post-Reconstruction system is not a de jure officer. Okay, a de jure is grounded, or they go by, for example, a de jure authority. They go by grounded in common law. Okay, that's what they follow. They follow through true constitutional limits. De facto is basically a statutory. They do things by the color of law, or let's say I'll just say positive law. So, and not to make it complicated, this is the entire government structure, how it's worked. It is operate through administrative law. Okay, I'd like to do at some point. I don't know when. I would love to tell everybody when. I would like to do a PowerPoint presentation about breaking it down of different layers of how this system operates through administrative law. The system is very complex by design. So anyway, so the Department of Justice, along with the de facto state legislators and even the governors, all the governors under the system is not a Republican form. We have no Republican form of government. Those of you saying that, oh, that's not true, you got to look at the history of how a Republican form of government operates in its capacity, especially in the constitutional limit versus today. Okay, you got to go about it today. And in order to do that, you're going to have to abandon, if you call yourself a conservative or liberal, you're going to have to toss that in the trash for yourself. And or if you're a libertarian, I don't care. You're going to have to focus literally on the function or the characteristics of a state government. Okay? Okay? If the state government is going outside constitutional bounds by using emergency powers, okay, or any other acts that they make that's outside the Constitution, is null and void. It's not lawful, folks. It's not. Okay? They're going against common law principles. So yes, so the police power, it is under this system, it is operating or like an enforcement arm for this de facto system. Okay, all right. So that's the problem. What we're going through that's one of the problems what we're going through is that. But Department of Justice, they definitely need to be abolished, not reformed. I don't care about reform. But I need the authority needs to be challenged. Okay, that's what needs to happen, and that's why I'm doing this live. I just wanted to. I'm saying to myself, why? It really makes sense. It makes sense why these two statutes are not being enforced. Yeah, let me just look at these comments here. How you doing, everybody? I'm going to fall into the river. If you keep going forward, no, I can see what I'm going. Anyway, so yeah, this definitely it's mind-boggling when you learn the more you learn on different things. I this channel I subscribe to, this defense attorney. A lot of stuff that he talks about is very useful. I know he talks things about maintaining the status quo, but as far as the traffic stops go and what the police do it is insane. It is insane. It is very technical, but it just alarms me. I don't know everything, but it alarms me that the things that they do to oppress people. And we have been very conditioned to accept things as normal. So what I talk about is not going to be for everybody. I'm not trying to gain approval. There's things that I've learned, I take notes, and now I'm going to definitely execute. But somebody's car alarm went off. Sorry for the noise in the background. Anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to just really take this opportunity to share this with everybody. I wish I could show everybody what I've learned, especially the things that there's different statutes that governs the Department of Justice and what keeps what gives it authority to exist. And I'm going to attack those statutes to repeal it. I'm going to attack it, and then one of my strategy is to what gives them the authority to exist. What authority that the Department of Justice, for example, derives from? Where? It's one or the other. It's either de facto or de jure. Gotta be one or the other. And I know they derive their authority from de facto. I mean, that's a no-brainer for me. But a lot of people that don't know about these things, it's not your fault if you don't know about the stuff that I'm talking about. We don't really know about these things. Hey, shucks. I just learned recently that the reason why the police constantly keep getting away, why they get fired, being fired for killing a man, right? A family man, for example, it's not good enough. $2 million is not fucking good enough. It's not good enough. I'm like, you just committed murder. Murder is murder. That's the thing. This might become a rant, and I don't give a damn. What bothers me is that, murder is murder. Period. You kill an innocent man, You're not defending yourself. Um, you're not. If you're defending yourself, all right, you have every right to defend yourself. Okay? But if you're in a position and you're using your position to justify murder, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. And I observe a lot of people accept this shit. I observe that when 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 a police officer kills an innocent man, or let's say kills a pregnant woman, or kill an elderly man in a wheelchair, I've seen and heard all kinds of cases and situations. Okay, when that happens, it's not the same outrage when you have a person that shoots a cop. I realize the reaction of the system. I find it very interesting, though, and disturbing at the same time. Then the public reaction to this. The public, which I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to call it straight. You might be offended. I don't care. I'll say the bootlickers, they say, this person just shot these two cops. I can't believe this. We can't look at this criminal. He just killed two cops. But if you reverse that in the other way around, oh well, I don't see the whole footage. Where's the whole footage? I don't see it. We make all kinds of excuses. The bootlickers make all kinds of excuses about, well, it's okay. You know, I mean, it happened. We're still investigating. But again, you got to think about it like this. If you reverse it the other way around, oh my gosh, you just killed two police, and then the police become like more of an aggressive mafia, especially in New York City. And I'm from New York, and I know how they think, the mentality of the NYPD. They're like, like gangsters, like 5.0 gangsters, like the next level. They'll swarm, go to neighborhood, harassing people, try to find this hunt. They're hunting down this person. But we don't have that same outrage when you have an elderly man or a pregnant woman shot or a family man shot by a cop. Why is that? Can anybody literally put away their political hat and fucking ask that question? Just forget about that you're liberal. Forget about that you're conservative or libertarian. As an individual, you ever ask that question, why? Why does it always seem to be one-sided? You know why? I could tell you why in my own personal observation. Because we have been conditioned. We have been conditioned to tolerate the insanity. We allow people in certain positions to justify, to commit murder. We have. And then what makes it even more frustrating in society is that if you are belonging to a political box, let's say you're a conservative, you don't want to hear any of the shit that I just talked about, because in your brain you think that I'm a liberal, which I made myself very clear. I'm nonpartisan. But you cannot compute that someone like me is actually questioning the whole damn narrative. So you're wired to believe that I'm a liberal. That's how brainwashed you are. But it's all by design. You can't think with reason about why is that a pregnant woman that's been forced down to the ground, a pregnant woman, okay? I read these cases. These are true cases. And she have a gun in the back of her fucking head. Tell me how the fuck that could be justified. And excuse me if I'm cursing, because I get really hot when I talk about this. Oh, I really get hot. I don't think if anybody brings me on in an interview and talk about certain things, I'm going to just lay it out so badly that I don't know. It's going to be very hard for people to actually compute or to even defend the narrative. Because I tear down narratives. All the fucking narrative, whatever, that we've been brainwashed to accept and all that shit, I just tear it down. I use logic. I use reason. Okay? All right? I don't think based on a political ideology. I think on my own 2 feet. Okay? I'm very analytical. And I have no problem questioning. Everything, even my own self. I question my own belief or what I've learned. And if I don't know something, I'll go back. I'll come right back and just research it. And if somebody want to correct me on something, if I post something that's wrong, share it. Share it. Tell me exactly what it is. Share something that's something that's factual, But if it's your opinion, I don't give a damn to hear about your opinions. I care about facts. Just I need something to back it up. But I share everybody in this live these two statutes I want you all to look at: Title 18, 241, okay, and 242. Read it. Just read it. Okay. It's just amazing. It's amazing. Got all these damn gnats. I guess evening time bugs. Got a lot of gnats here just flying around. Anyway, oh man, I get really heated up. So I really appreciate anybody that has the the bravery to stick around. I'm not. Again, I don't know. I come on. I do these live. I don't really know if how many people gonna listen. I try not to focus on that so much. I just do these lives, share some important topics, and then that's it. I'm not doing these things for validation. I am open-minded, or let's say over the past 10 years, over like let's say 10 years, sharing certain things. I know that there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to like the stuff that I share. But yeah, I can't. I learn more and more not to really care if people don't like what I share. So if my live become like nobody listening to, then it'll be my own personal journal that I could listen to. I do listen to my recorded lives, and I do get motivated. So it's kind of like it's a win-win situation. So if people come by and listen to my live, great. If they don't, great. Doesn't stop me what I know. It doesn't stop me from me learning. It doesn't stop me saying what I just said in this live, that one of my projects that I'm going to abolish the Department of Justice. I'm going to target the authority. Okay, I'm not asking somebody's fucking permission. I'm going to challenge the authority. There's a lot of things I'm going to do. I'm going to challenge the Supreme Court rulings that allows the police to do certain things. Yes, you can challenge the Supreme Court past rulings. You can, because I understand history of law and everything, and way to attack everything. Yes, I will do that. But yeah, these agencies needs to be abolished. And for those of you talk about limited form of government, so if you really for limited form of government, I suggest you start researching on these agencies, okay, that's been created, all right, during pre-1867. No, not pre-1860, sorry, post-1867. That's the Reconstruction. All the agencies that was created, for example, right? None of them have any lawful origin. None of them. Okay, very simple. It's if you understand again the basics of how the federal government was prior to a certain time period in our history. Okay, and especially state governments. Okay, the governments today are operating a lot on emergency powers or emergency acts. Okay, they're using that measure to go outside the Constitution, state or federal. Okay, those things could be challenged. They can. And I'm definitely going to use that. I'm going to use a lot of other things to take out a lot of agencies. Congress, the people that call themselves Congress, they're not really Congress. I talked about that more live. I share that, if you look at my past videos about so-called Congress. Congress is not representative in fact. That's noted in the totalitarian party. I think it's Title 8, subsection 37. No, sorry, Title 8, 1101, subsection 37, A and B. So I did a video about that. So Congress, by their own admission, they are basically not representative in fact. Not representative in fact, in plain English, is basically they're not real. They're not what they say they are on paper. In practice, Congress is not the constitutional Congress. You got to research, folks. You got to research how Congress operated at a certain time period. Let's just say before 1860. How did Congress operate compared to today? Okay, look through your research. You got to know where to look. We're not a lot of us. We're not having awareness or the understanding where to look. Okay, it's very important to know certain. I mean, history. I know a lot of people don't believe in history, but there's some things you have to understand that there's been a change of government. There's been a change. Okay, and I'm pinpointing to folks when the change happened. It happened during the Reconstruction, 1867, the third Reconstruction, and the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment, the infamous 14th Amendment, changed our entire political system. Okay? So, yeah, I know it's just kind of a long live, but anyway, I really appreciate everybody stopping by. I know I just wasn't sure what the turnout would be, but that's fine. Um, just I will keep folks posted. I don't know when I'm going to start this project, but as far as the Department of Justice and dealing with the state legislators and the police, they're just the front line of the problems that we go through. So I'm focusing on the higher ups. Okay, so it's not really so much about yes, the police. A lot of them are the problem. They are a problem. Okay, a lot of them are, and it's not them. It's not just them, but it's the state legislators and the state government. They gave themselves immunity because of the crime that they're actually allowing to be committed by the enforcers. So think about it. Why did the state government give themselves immunity? The states are not. They're not liable if a Gestapo shoot your grandmother in the head because he think or she thinks that grandma's gonna stick out a fucking 45. Their narrative is saying, hey, it's justified. It's completely justified. I was afraid for my life, so I just shot grandma in the head. That's the reality. That is the reality. I'm just gonna say it like it is, and it happens every fucking day. Happens every day, and we're not outraged enough. We're not outraged enough. And civil rights leaders, they're a fucking joke. Excuse my language, but man, I get really heated when some things. Civil rights leaders are a joke. In fact, they are puppets. I never ever want to look toward a civil rights leader to do anything in regards to that. What I stick for is natural rights, okay, constitutional protection. That's what I stand for. Okay, natural rights, not no fucking civil rights. If you want to talk about civil rights, whatever. That's like a little extra add-on. But civil rights is basically government privileges. That's basically what it is. I don't give a damn about civil rights really. I care about natural rights. Okay, the rights that's been inherently in you when you're born. We don't know about we don't learn about this stuff. We don't know about this stuff. Majority of the population don't even know about natural rights. We really don't. We really don't. We say constitutional rights. There is no such thing as constitutional rights. You do not get your rights from the damn Constitution, folks. And this lawyer that I listen to in the damn YouTube channel keeps saying constitutional rights. I'm like, oh my gosh. There is no such thing as constitutional rights. You get protection from the Constitution. Your rights are inherent, okay? Your rights come from the Creator. That is where your rights come from. The Constitution reaffirms those rights. They give people protection when it comes to protection from the state government and federal. It's another thing. We talk about constitutional rights, but we don't really. We just parrot because it feels good. Man, I tell you, a lot of it is it's not our fault. Well, you know what? I can't really blame people so hard, man. But I try to tell people about it. I share knowledge. I share things where people look. I share court cases to support the things I talk about. I might, you know what? I'm gonna, after this live, I'm gonna share those statutes again about Title 18, 241, 242, and I'm gonna share that court case that talks about that our rights do not come from the Constitution, and government doesn't give us fucking rights, folks. Okay? All right? Seriously. So I'm gonna provide a court case for you to look at. Okay? If you need to research it, please do. I always encourage people to research anyway. Don't take my words for it. I never really want anybody to take my word for it. Anyway, this live's been going, what, man, 40 minutes. Wow. Damn, 40 minutes. Let me look at my comment here. Uh, yeah, I don't really look at my comments when I'm talking. So I'm trying to focus when I'm talking. So if somebody asks me what am I saying, dude? Well, in case you haven't heard, uh, and if you don't know what I'm talking about the police, about why the police seem to get away of committing murder or physically assault somebody, why the statute 240, Title 18, 241, 242, why is that not being enforced? And I talked about how the Department of Justice is the gatekeeper of those statutes. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm talking, and then also I mentioned about that I plan to abolish the Department of Justice. Okay, that's going to be this is my, I have so many projects actually, but this is going to be my next, well, I don't want to say my next project, but they're on my list. Okay, we'll definitely aim for that. That's the goal. All right, so thank you all for stopping by. I will definitely add those information on the description below. And thank you. All right, appreciate it. I don't know when I'm going to be back here on live again. I don't. Seem like maybe it could be this weekend. I don't know. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Have a good one.